strangers, Stephanie here, and today's What's for Dinner video, I am sharing some cozy fall favorites. This video is part of a collaboration hosted by Tiffany over at Small Town 6 and Valerie Hargett. I will have both of their channels linked in the description box below, as well as a link to a playlist filled with some more cozy fall favorites. Let's get into it. First up, nothing screams cozy quite like chicken and noodles. This is so comforting and also so easy to make. So I'm starting out with my chicken breasts in the bottom of the slow cooker. I am adding pepper, seasoned salt, and then I'm also going to add some thyme and poultry seasoning to this. And those are my main spices going in. Once I've got all of those seasonings added, I'm going to top this with some cream of soups. I am using cream of celery and cream of chicken, so 1 can of each. You could also use cream of mushroom. I'm just not a cream of mushroom fan. I'm not a mushroom fan in general. I do like cream of onion, so that would probably be really good in this too. But I didn't have any celery on hand and I wanted that celery flavor, so cream of celery worked out really well in this. And then on top of that, I didn't have any onions either, so I just spread some minced onions over the top of it because I did want that oniony flavor in here as well. Now I am using my Instant Pot as a slow cooker. With chicken, I have found that that works fine. I run into problems with this though when I make things like stews or anything beef really has not been turning out well for me using the slow cooker function. Now that I do have more storage space in my house and I have room to have multiple appliances, I did just finally get a slow cooker right after I had made this. So I am very excited that in my next slow cooker meals that y'all will see, it will be something that was actually intended to be a slow cooker. So I'm very excited about that. I let my chicken go. I also had chicken broth in there, and I let that go for about 3 hours on high. You want to make sure your chicken does get fully cooked to an internal temperature of 165 degrees Fahrenheit. And then I shredded it up. You could see when I pulled it out, all of the seasoning was still kind of stuck to the chicken. But once it is cut up and stirred around more, it does distribute throughout everything. Once that chicken is all shredded up, I'm going to add in my veggies and my noodles. I used frozen peas and carrots that I just stuck in the microwave for a little bit to take some of the freezer edge off of it, only for about a minute, so it wasn't fully cooked in there. And then for noodles, I know this is not what you typically see in a chicken and noodles, but I just used dried egg noodles and I cooked them first and then cooked them kind of to an al dente cooked doneness and then threw them into finished cooking in the slow cooker with everything else and let those flavors combine, and this was so tasty. The leftovers were also really good. Next up, some deconstructed nachos. Now, I showed a chicken version of this a few weeks ago in a What's for Dinner. Now this time I'm showing a beef version. So I love getting the meat from Fresh Market when it's on sale. I've mentioned getting the Fresh Market chicken on Tuesdays. Also on Tuesdays, the ground chuck is on sale. So you can see I showed the package there. It was only $3 and change for a little less than a pound. I believe it's $3.99 per pound on Tuesdays, but the quality of it is so good. This is the best chicken and the best ground beef. So I did get 2 packages of it, right around 2 pounds. And normally I wouldn't make that much food, but when the weather starts to get cooler, I love having things in the freezer that I can pull out and have ready. So this is something that was great to freeze once I finished cooking all the ground beef. So I cooked the ground beef with some taco seasoning and then added more taco seasoning after the meat was cooked and I had drained the grease. And then I had a can of diced green chilies that has been in my pantry for way too long. It moved with me from California to North Carolina, and I think I had had it for probably a year in my pantry in California. So I added that to this and finally got that out of the pantry. I also would have liked to have onions in here, but I didn't have any on hand, so I just used the minced dehydrated onions, and that worked out fine. I added some water to this as well so that the flavors could really cook together in there. And then I remembered that I wanted to have beans with my nachos, but thought those might go really well right in with the meat. So I drained and rinsed a can of black beans and then let that meat cook together for a little while with all of the beans and chilies, just gathering all those flavors. And then I've been loving doing deconstructed nachos where I take the scoops and then all of my toppings, and then I get a nice even bite every time. And this worked out really well. I had my guac, my sour cream, and my cheese, and my salsa, and then my meat on the side, and I could make each nacho with exactly the taste that I wanted in that bite. And lastly, for this video, I've got some chicken and stuffing, or you could call it chicken and dressing, but I grew up with it all being called stuffing, whether it was stuffed in a bird or not, so I will continue to call it stuffing. You can come at me for that if you'd like, but I just like letting people call it whatever they want to call it. Stuffing or dressing doesn't bother me. I am starting out with simply a packet of the chicken gravy mix, and I'm doctoring that up with a little bit of poultry seasoning added in, as well as adding in a little bit of celery salt. I thought that would be a good flavor in this, and I was correct. I really enjoyed this. And that's it. I'm whisking this together with a little bit of black pepper and throwing in some rotisserie chicken. I have been loving the rotisserie chickens from Costco. They make things so easy. This was actually the third different meal I had used the same rotisserie chicken in over the course of this week. The other meals will be in my next What's for Dinner video. I used it for chicken Caesar salads, and then I also used it for a kind of chicken burrito bowl type situation. So I've been loving having that, and then I just let that cook with the lid on while I was cooking everything else to let that chicken absorb some of that gravy and let the seasonings really get to work in there. And then for the stuffing aspect of this, you can use whatever kind you enjoy. I had found at Aldi recently this Chef's Cupboard, the Aldi brand of a Hawaiian stuffing mix, and this was the sage and onion one. This was so good. I will definitely get it again if I can find it at Aldi again. I hope they still have it because I really enjoyed this. And then to go along with my chicken and stuffing, I had carrots, baby carrots that I needed to use up. So I roasted them or air fried them, I suppose, but it gave that same kind of roasted situation. I used a little bit of olive oil, and then I have this caramelized onion butter Kinder's mix. It does get clumped up, at least for me, it's been very clumped up in the package. So it's not even that I put that much into the oil, it's that it took a lot of effort to get the amount I wanted out of it. So I really had to squeeze and shake it quite a bit. And then I'm simply putting the oil and the seasoning on my carrots and throwing those into the air fryer. I got some air fryer little parchment sheets when I was at Burlington recently. They had them there. I got, I think, 100 of them for $6.99, something along those lines. And I did get a new air fryer recently. That was in my most recent grocery haul. So if you haven't seen that, I am loving this air fryer versus the air fry oven that I used to have. I put it in there for about 12 minutes at 375, and they turned out perfectly. And alongside them, I got these kettle chips that are Thanksgiving stuffing seasoned kettle chips from Trader Joe's. Those are also in my recent Trader Joe's haul, and I thought that might just be a nice flavor and a little bit of crunch along the side of this. Thank you so much for watching. I hope y'all enjoyed this video, and if you did, I hope you'll give it a thumbs up. And don't forget, this was part of a collab, so make sure if you're coming from my channel, you're checking out that playlist in the description box. And if you're coming from one of the other channels, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for stopping by. Have a great week, everyone.